This story happened 3 years ago when my wife Kelly and I went to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico for our anniversary. We'd been married 5 years, and this was supposed to be our big celebration trip. We saved up for months to afford this place. Before I get into what happened, I need to explain something about Kelly. She's not big on photos, like at all. Our wedding photographer practically had to beg her to smile for pictures. It's not that she's insecure or anything, she just doesn't like having her picture taken. Says it feels invasive. I've always respected that about her, even though I love taking photos. So when we got to the resort and they offered this complimentary photography package, I was shocked when Kelly said yes. The deal was simple. A resort photographer would follow us around for a few hours one day, take candid shots, and we'd get a USB drive with all the photos at the end of our stay. "Are you sure?" I asked her. "You hate this kind of thing." She shrugged. "It's free, and it's our anniversary. Maybe we should have some nice photos for once." I wasn't going to argue. We scheduled it for our third day there. The photographer showed up at breakfast. His name was Luis. Mid-40s, friendly smile, professional camera equipment. He explained he'd just follow us around, stay out of the way, capture natural moments. We wouldn't even know he was there. And honestly, he was great at his job. We barely noticed him. We spent the day at the beach, the pool, walking around the resort. Every now and then, I'd spot him in the distance with his camera, but he was subtle about it. That evening, we were getting ready for dinner when there was a knock at our door. It was Luis. He had a big smile on his face. "I just wanted to show you a few preview shots," he said. "I think you're going to love them." He showed us his camera screen. The photos were beautiful, professional quality. Kelly looked gorgeous in every shot. Even I had to admit I looked pretty good. "These are amazing," Kelly said. I was surprised by how excited she sounded. "I'll have the full package ready for you on your last day," Luis said. "Probably about 200 photos total." After he left, Kelly was practically giddy. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually excited to see the rest. The next few days were perfect. We barely thought about the photos, just enjoyed our vacation. On our last day, we went to the resort's photo desk to pick up our USB drive. A different employee was working. Young guy, probably early 20s, looked nervous. "Are you here for your photos?" he asked. "Yes, from Luis, our anniversary package." His face went pale. "Luis?" "Yeah, he took photos of us earlier this week." The employee stepped away and made a phone call, spoke in rapid Spanish. When he came back, he looked even more nervous. "Can you describe this, Luis?" I described him. Mid-40s, friendly, professional camera. The employee shook his head slowly. "Sir, we don't have anyone named Luis working here, and we haven't offered complimentary photography packages in over 2 years. My stomach dropped. "That's impossible. He showed us his resort badge." "Can you show me?" I pulled up the photos Luis had shown us on my phone. I'd taken a picture of his camera screen to show my mom later. The employee studied it. "These were definitely taken at our resort, but I don't know who took them." He called his manager. The manager came out and we explained everything again. She looked concerned. "We need to review the security footage," she said. "This is very serious." They brought us to a back office, spent an hour reviewing footage from the days Luis had been photographing us. They found him on camera, following us around the resort. But here's the thing that made my blood run cold. He wasn't just photographing us. He was photographing Kelly specifically. In every single shot they found, his camera was pointed at Kelly. Just Kelly. I was in the frame sometimes, but the camera was always focused on her. And it got worse. They found footage of him outside our room multiple times. Early morning, late at night, just standing there, watching our door. One video showed him trying the door handle at 3 a.m. Our room was locked, thank God, but he tried it 3 times before walking away. The manager called the police immediately, showed them everything. The police asked us questions for hours. Had we noticed anyone following us? Had Kelly felt unsafe at any point? Had we seen this man anywhere else on the resort? We hadn't. He'd been so subtle, so professional. We trusted him completely because he had a badge and knew about the resort. The police told us this wasn't the first time something like this had happened at resorts in the area. People posing as employees, gaining trust, gathering information on guests, sometimes for robbery, sometimes for worse things. They found the fake badge Luis had made. It was a nearly perfect replica of a real resort badge. They found his real name through hotel security footage at a nearby resort where he'd been banned 6 months earlier for similar behavior. His name was actually Ramon. He had a record. Multiple charges related to stalking, harassment, breaking and entering. He'd worked at various resorts over the years until he got caught and fired. Now he just posed as an employee and targeted guests. The thing that still haunts me? They found over 300 photos of Kelly on his camera when they finally caught him 2 weeks later. Photos of her at breakfast, at the pool, on the beach, walking to our room, some taken from very close range, others from far away with a zoom lens, and photos of our room door with timestamps, like he was tracking when we came and went. The police said we were lucky. The pattern they'd seen with him before was that he'd eventually escalate, break into rooms, confront his targets. They believed we left before he'd made his move. Kelly didn't speak for the entire flight home. When we finally got back to our house, she went through every photo on her phone, every social media post, deleting anything that showed where we lived, where we worked, where we spent time. She made me do the same. Because here's the truly terrifying part. When they caught him, they found a notebook. In it were details about us, our names, our home address, our work schedules, our anniversary date. He'd found all of it from our social media accounts. He'd been planning to find us after we left the resort. The police increased patrols around our neighborhood for a few months. We changed our locks, installed a security system, got cameras. Kelly still checks the doorbell camera obsessively. We never went back to that resort. We've barely traveled since. The few times we have, Kelly won't let anyone take our photo, won't let me post anything online until we're back home. And I don't blame her, because we learned the hard way that sometimes the scariest people aren't the ones hiding in the shadows. They're the ones with fake badges and friendly smiles who convince you to trust them. That man had hundreds of photos of my wife, knew where we lived, had a plan, and we'd smiled for his camera and thanked him for his time. I'll never forget how excited Kelly was when she saw those first photos, how happy she looked, how she'd finally let her guard down about being photographed. And I'll never stop wondering what would have happened if we'd stayed at that resort one more day. This happened last year when 4 of us decided to rent a cabin in the mountains for a long weekend. Me, my boyfriend Tyler, and our friends Rachel and Josh. We'd been planning it for months. Found this perfect cabin online. Remote, beautiful views, hot tub, the whole deal. The listing said the nearest neighbor was over a mile away, which was perfect for us. We wanted total privacy. No one around to complain if we were loud, stayed up late, whatever. We got there on a Thursday afternoon in October. The drive up was gorgeous. Fall colors, winding mountain roads, fresh air. The cabin was exactly like the photos. 2 bedrooms, huge deck, surrounded by trees. We unpacked, made dinner, opened some wine. Perfect start to the weekend. Around 10 p.m., we were out on the deck in the hot tub when Rachel noticed something. "Is that a light?" she asked, pointing through the trees. We all looked. There was definitely a light, maybe half a mile away through the woods, a house we hadn't noticed during the day. "I thought the listing said the nearest neighbor was over a mile away," Josh said. "Maybe it is," Tyler replied. "Hard to judge distance in the dark." We didn't think much of it. Finished our night, went to bed. The next morning, I got up early to make coffee. I was standing at the kitchen window looking out at the woods when I saw someone. A man, standing in the tree line, just standing there, facing our cabin. I jumped, spilled my coffee. By the time I looked again, he was gone. I told myself I'd imagined it. I'd just woken up, still groggy, probably saw a tree trunk or a shadow. Later that morning, we decided to hike one of the trails near the cabin. About halfway through, Josh stopped. "Do you guys hear that?" he asked. We all listened. Footsteps behind us on the trail, not far away. We turned around, no one there. "Probably just another hiker," Rachel said. But the footsteps had stopped the moment we stopped. That seemed weird. We kept walking. The footsteps started again, matching our pace exactly. We stopped again. The footsteps stopped. Tyler called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No answer. We decided to head back to the cabin. The whole way we could hear those footsteps behind us, never getting closer, never falling behind, just following. When we got back to the cabin, we all felt unsettled. We locked the doors, closed the curtains, tried to laugh it off as paranoia. That afternoon, Tyler went out to the deck to grill. I was inside making a salad when I heard him shout. I ran outside. He was standing at the deck railing, staring into the woods. "There's someone out there," he said. "I saw them. Same spot as this morning." We all looked. Nothing. "It was a person," Tyler insisted, "standing in the trees, wearing a red jacket." "Maybe it's the neighbor," Josh suggested. "Maybe they're just checking out who's renting the cabin." "That's weird, though," Rachel said. "Why wouldn't they just come say hi?" We tried to relax, made dinner, played board games, but everyone was on edge. Around midnight, I needed to use the bathroom. As I was washing my hands, I heard something outside the bathroom window, a scraping sound. I peeked through the curtain. There were 3 people standing in our driveway, just standing there, not moving, all wearing dark clothes. I screamed. Everyone came running. Tyler looked out the front window. "Oh my God, who are they?" We all watched as the 3 figures just stood there, not approaching the cabin, not leaving, just standing. Tyler grabbed his phone. "I'm calling the police." He called 911, explained the situation. The dispatcher said they'd send someone, but it would take at least 45 minutes. We were in a remote area. "Stay inside, keep the doors locked. Don't engage with them." We all huddled in the living room watching through the windows. The 3 figures stood in the driveway for maybe 20 minutes. Then, in perfect unison, they turned and walked back into the woods. We waited. An hour later, 2 police officers arrived. We explained everything. The man in the trees, the footsteps on the trail, the 3 people in the driveway. The officers walked around the property with flashlights, came back and asked us about the nearest neighbor. The listing said over a mile away, I told them. One officer pulled out a map. "There's a property about half a mile through those woods. Old farmhouse. Families lived there for generations. The Holloways." "Are they normal?" Rachel asked. The officers exchanged a look. "They're private," one finally said. "Keep to themselves. We've had a few calls about them over the years. Nothing serious, just unusual behavior." "What kind of unusual behavior?" Tyler asked. "They don't like people on this mountain. This cabin used to be owned by a family they were friendly with. When it got turned into a rental property a few years ago, they weren't happy about it." "What do they do?" I asked. "They watch people, follow them, try to make them uncomfortable so they leave. They've never hurt anyone, never damaged property, they just intimidate." "That's terrifying," Rachel said. The other officer nodded. "They're within their rights to walk around their own property. And technically, these woods aren't all owned by the cabin. Some of it's the Holloway land." "So they can just stand in our driveway?" Josh asked. "That's trespassing. We can talk to them, but unless they threaten you or damage something, there's not much we can do." The officers drove to the Holloway property. Came back an hour later. They said they were checking on unusual activity, said they saw your lights, and wanted to make sure everything was okay. They've agreed to stay on their property. After the police left, we had a serious discussion. It was only 2 a.m. We could pack up and leave right now. But we'd paid for the whole weekend, and technically the Holloways hadn't actually done anything illegal. We decided to stay but keep everything locked, stay inside after dark. Saturday passed without incident. We didn't see anyone, didn't hear anything. Sunday morning, our last day, Tyler went out to pack the car. He came back in pale. "You need to see this," he said. We all went outside. On every window of the cabin, someone had traced a handprint in the condensation from the outside. Every single window, including the second-floor bedroom windows. Someone had climbed up to reach them. We packed up in 20 minutes and left, called the property owner from the road.
He apologized, said he'd had issues with the hallways before, offered us a refund, and said he was going to install security cameras. We never went back, but I sometimes look up that property online. It's still being rented. The reviews never mention neighbors. I wonder if the hallways only do it to certain people, or if the bad reviews get deleted, or if we were just the unlucky ones who they decided to target. All I know is that those handprints on every window, including the ones 2 stories up, still give me nightmares. Because someone spent hours that night, climbing, reaching, touching every window, while we were inside sleeping. And we never heard a thing.
This story happened 6 months ago when I was traveling alone for a work conference. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I travel for work pretty regularly. I'm used to airports, hotels, rental cars, all of it. I consider myself street smart and careful. But this trip was different. This trip, I let my guard down at the worst possible moment. I flew into a city I'd never been to before for a 3-day conference. My company had booked me a hotel about 30 minutes from the airport. The hotel offered a free shuttle service, which was great because it saved me from having to rent a car. My flight got in around 10 p.m., later than planned because of delays. I was exhausted. I grabbed my bag from baggage claim and headed to the shuttle pickup area. There were several hotel shuttles waiting. I walked down the line looking for my hotel's name. Found it at the end. A white van with the hotel logo on the side. The driver was standing outside. Older guy, maybe late 50s, wearing a polo shirt with the hotel logo. He smiled when he saw me. "You staying at the hotel?" he asked. "Yeah, are you heading there now?" "Sure am. You're my last pickup. Hop in." I got in the back seat. Noticed I was the only passenger. The van could probably fit 12 people, but it was just me. The driver got in, started the engine. "Long day?" he asked. "Yeah, flight delays." "I hear you. This traffic's been crazy all day." Normal, small talk. I was on my phone, texting my boyfriend that I'd landed safely. We drove for maybe 10 minutes when I noticed we were getting on a highway. That seemed wrong. The hotel was supposed to be close to the airport. "Excuse me," I said. "Is the hotel on the highway? I thought it was closer." "Oh yeah," the driver said. "There's construction. Gotta take a detour." That made sense. I went back to my phone. Another 10 minutes passed. We were now in what looked like an industrial area. Warehouses, empty lots, no hotels in sight. "Hey," I said, louder now. "Where are we?" "Detour," he said again. "Won't be much longer." Something felt wrong, very wrong. I opened my phone and pulled up the hotel's address. We were going in the complete opposite direction. "This isn't right," I said. "You need to turn around." "Relax," he said. "I know where I'm going." "Turn around now or I'm calling the police." He laughed. Not a friendly laugh, a cold laugh. I dialed 911. No signal. We were in an area with no service. My heart started racing. I looked at the door, tried the handle. Child locks. I couldn't open it from the inside. "Let me out," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Can't do that," he replied. "Not yet." "What do you want?" He didn't answer, just kept driving. I looked around for something, anything I could use. My suitcase was in the back. My purse was next to me. I dug through it. Pepper spray. I never traveled without it. I clicked off the safety, held it in my hand. We turned down a dark road, no streetlights, completely isolated. He slowed down, started pulling over. "Last chance," I said. "Let me out or I'll make you regret it." He turned around in his seat, smiled. "I'd like to see you try." The moment he reached for me, I sprayed him directly in the face. He screamed. The van swerved. I kept spraying. He was clawing at his eyes, couldn't see. The van jerked to a stop. I climbed over the seat, pushed him aside, unlocked the driver's door from the inside controls, threw myself out of the van and ran faster than I've ever run in my life, into the darkness. Didn't know where I was going, didn't care, just ran. I heard him yelling behind me, heard the van door slam. I saw a light ahead, a building, some kind of warehouse with security lights.
I ran toward it, pounded on the door. Help, please help. A security guard opened the door, took one look at me, and immediately called the police. I was hyperventilating, crying, incoherent. He brought me inside, gave me water, kept me safe. The police arrived 15 minutes later. I told them everything. They found the van abandoned about a mile away. Here's the part that still makes me sick. It wasn't a hotel shuttle. The van wasn't even from my hotel. The man had bought a used van, stuck fake hotel logos on it, bought a fake uniform shirt. He'd been posing as a hotel shuttle driver for months, targeting women traveling alone. When the police searched the van, they found zip ties, duct tape, rope, a tarp in the back. They found my suitcase and 4 other suitcases from 4 other women. The police told me I was the only one who'd gotten away. They never found the driver. He'd used a fake name. The van was registered to a fake address. The other women's cases are still open. 4 women who got into that van and were never seen again. I was number 5. I was supposed to disappear that night, supposed to be another missing person case, another woman who vanished at an airport. The only reason I'm here is because I had pepper spray and I thought back. The police said I did everything wrong. I should have verified it was the real shuttle, should have checked that the driver was legit, should have been more careful. But I was tired, I was distracted, I let my guard down. I don't travel alone anymore. I take Ubers with tracked routes. I verify everything twice. I never assume anyone is who they say they are. Because I learned the scariest lesson possible. The people who want to hurt you don't look like monsters. They look like friendly shuttle drivers in polo shirts with hotel logos. They smile and make small talk and offer to help with your bags. And by the time you realize something's wrong, you're locked in a van driving toward the darkness. 4 women before me learned that lesson too late. I was just lucky enough to learn it and survive.